present some certificates and awards to individuals that have gone beyond to serve our community cities. It takes a lot of time and dedication to put service above self. And they are the exemplary example for all of us to follow. We should help each other. We should treat each other with respect and with love. And we would like to, the city council, the city manager and staff, to recognize them and honor them, Public Works Department, the Fire Department, and the Police Department for going beyond to represent Team Killeen and to help our Temple and also Morgan Point Resort. So please give them a round of applause as we start the ceremony. Thank you all for the standing ovation because they deserve it. They helped out in the disaster recovery. And they went over, we were at an event, Chief Lopez and I, along with his leadership, when the tornado hit on the near Fort Cavazos and then Temple, Morgan Points and other areas. And they did not hesitate to get out in front to help our neighboring cities. And they stayed 2, 3 in the morning on the recovery to ensure that every life was accounted for. And that is a blessing. And we want to truly honor them. And when you see them, just say thank you for a job well done. Chief Lopez.
What did I do with my phone?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for recognizing the outstanding work all our city clean employees do on a daily basis, but specifically on May 23rd. May 23rd, like the mayor said, we were at the Senior Center celebrating our Assistant Police Academy. And actually, we had a shelter in place about 45 minutes while the storm passed through us. God spared Killeen, but unfortunately it hit our sister city, Temple. So as soon as I found out that Temple was hit real hard, I immediately reached out to Chief Reynolds and offered our assistance. Our command staff immediately convened.
I will be serving the city council
We have about 20 officers headed
during the citizen comments portion. You can also watch this live on the City of Killeen website.
No, seriously.
Just type in City of Killeen City Council. You can go to the live video.
We will have to come together and pull our resources to help each other out. And that's exactly what we did, in Temple. We had over 60 officers over a 7-day period stand guard and help Temple recover through their efforts, and we'll be happy to do it again. And I want to take a minute to call out and recognize some of the officers.
Council, will you come down and stand right here and shake their hand? Please come down. They deserve it. Please come down.
Like I said, we had over 60 employees go out to Temple, even despite having damages to their own Temple and the community. All the damage they had to their houses. They displayed that selfless service, that servant heart, and they went out to the Temple to help out. I'd like to call out Sergeant Zachary Bias. Officer Evan Krause. Officer James Jones. Detective Linda Leach.
Yeah, if I show up at a city council meeting, you should start getting nervous if you're in the government.
Officer Walbert Sanabria. Officer Kenneth Sierra. Sergeant Seuss. Officer Swan. Detective Van Valkenburg. Detective Wooten. And Officer Yes. Chief.
Congratulations, CD.
Yay, they did their job. Let's give them an award.
Good evening, everybody. And to echo the words of Chief Lopez, very proud of the men and women of the city of Killeen. And who would have known 3.5 years ago when one of my friends and mentors pulled out this one phrase.
For those of you joining, I will be serving the mayor,
Oh, that's a good
city
phrase.
manager,
What we do here in the city of
and
Killeen.
several others with a
Never
lawsuit
thought that it was gonna
during
spread out
public
to the rest of
comments.
Bell County. And that our one team came into one fight with the rest of Bell County for our neighbors over at Morgan's Point and the city of Temple. We truly are one team, one fight for the entire county, not just the city of Killeen, and we're very proud of that. Very proud of the men and women, and I know what our firefighters are gonna say is, we were on duty, we did what we were called to do, we were just doing our job. But they didn't know that day that they were gonna be called to rescue people, to see the devastation, and that weighs on them as well. What I also do know is that our firefighters were seen zipping past the donut shop, past the cops who stopped before they got to Temple. Love you, Chief Lopez. And so for the service to our citizens, there were a total of 15 Killeen firefighters and emergency management staff that responded to either Morgan's Point or Temple. Here tonight with us, Fire Rescue Officer Dustin Bennett.
Woo! You never hear anyone say, fuck the firefighters.
Captain Chris.
These are the real heroes.
Fire Rescue Officer Nathan Houston. Fire Rescue Officer Bradley Koenig. Fire Rescue Officer James Puckett. Fire Rescue Officer Trevor Shannon. Interim Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Joe Stewarts.
For those who don't know, we had a massive tornado come through here and really destroyed a lot of properties, and we're just lucky no one was killed.
To Director of Public Works, Jeff Reynolds.
Good evening. May 23rd, Chief Lopez got the call, and he called me immediately and told me that what the situation was in Temple. They were gonna need some help down there. I called Mr. Christopher Knoll, who was the division leader for mowing and drainage, and immediately he called his team in that night, prepped everything for the next day. They worked until 1 o'clock that morning, getting everything prepped so the next morning, first light, they can move out to Temple, because police and fire were reporting down there, but couldn't get through the streets without public works. They were just down there hanging out. So we went out there, cut up some trees, moved stuff out of the way, and gave them a path to go help people out. But on a serious note, we all came together. It is one team, one fight. That's who we are. That's how we represent for the city of Killeen. And we were more than happy to reach out and help our sister city in Temple. So without further ado, I want to recognize my team, Mr. Christopher Knoll. This is really the brainchild behind the efforts down at the Public Works. Mr. Chris Knoll went down there and made it happen for us. Thank you, sir. Mark Benavente. Randall Berg. Chad Black. Cassine Cathcart.
Woo!
Mr. Vincent Cruz. Mr. Sean Dunn. Peter Flores. Mr. Christopher Projet. Gilbert Garcia. Elias Gomez. Kurt Ellis. Josh Cooper.
For those of you just joining us, once we get to public comments, I will be serving a federal lawsuit against the mayor, the city manager, and several other individuals, including an assistant chief.
Town, better known as Rock. And last but certainly not least, supervisor from over there, Mr. Justin Waddington. This team did this without losing any service here in Killeen. We maintain support across all the departments, so it was a phenomenal job across the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds, Chief Kabinski, and also Chief Lopez. Please give them another round of applause. So it's been truly an honor. I mean, Team Killeen is what I believe in. And before I close the ceremony, we have the city manager at Temple would like to give some remarks. Mrs. Myers, and is there anyone from Morgan Point? Okay.
So good evening. My name is Bryn Myers, and I have the pleasure of serving as the city manager for the city of Temple. I want to take a moment today to extend my truly heartfelt gratitude to the incredible staff of the city of Killeen for your unwavering support and assistance to the city of Temple in the aftermath of our recent tornadoes. When our community faced such a devastating event, Killeen's prompt and comprehensive response truly made a world of difference. The police, public works, and fire support from Killeen worked tirelessly alongside our teams, demonstrating a level of dedication and commitment that went above and beyond the call of duty. Their immediate and sustained presence provided not only essential services, but also a sense of security and solidarity that was deeply felt by all of the staff at the city of Temple. On a personal note, Killeen holds a special place in my heart. It is my hometown, where my passion for local government was kindled through my service on the Youth Advisory Commission here. My father also served on the city council when I was a teenager, and it was through his service and my experiences here that I came to appreciate the role of the vital role that local government plays in our communities. And I think that is no more witness than in an event like we experienced in May with those horrible storms and the very severe weather, and the response that came immediately from Temple crews and Killeen crews and other neighbors to help our citizens is what local government and our local government is all about. Seeing Killeen crews in my own neighborhood rolling up their sleeves and tackling the massive task of sawing trees and clearing debris was both heartening and inspiring. Their actions were not just a fulfillment of duty, but a genuine act of neighborliness and compassion. They saw what needed to be done and did it without hesitation, which I think embodies the true spirit of community service. Every person that I've spoken to on our team who worked with a Killeen staff member has been overwhelmingly complimentary of Killeen's response. The collaborative effort and the seamless integration of their teams with ours highlight the strength and resilience that comes from our neighboring communities standing together in time of need. To all of Killeen's staff who contributed.
For those of you just joining, I will be serving the city mayor, city manager, assistant chief, and others with a federal lawsuit during citizen comments.
And we are profoundly grateful for your support. I hope that we never have to repay the debt.
They don't know why I'm here, although they probably have an idea.
To help you in the same way that you helped us. Thank you very much. It was very meaningful.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Mrs. Stryker?
I too, I'm from the city of Morgan's Point Resort. We're less than 5,000 people, and every street was covered with trees. And to see this team come in and take care of their little sister was just really overwhelming, because it was so overwhelming. And we're still cleaning up every day, as you know, but it was such an encouragement to us, and I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for every one of you who came and helped us out. I also, many of you may know our new city manager, whose name is Dennis Baldwin. And I just want to thank you for spending 35 years and training him well, so he can come and work for us. Thank you so much.
Once again, thank you all for your service and your commitment to the community. And we are here to support our sister cities. And for Team Colleen and the leadership, we are truly blessed and fortunate to have you on our team. Thank you. All of the employees, recipients, and the leaders, please come up so we can get a group photo together.
Public Works is lost in the back. Is there someone with a camera in the booth? There we go.
All right. On 3, 1, 2, 3, fire. All right, 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Thank you. You guys have Thank you. I'd like to make one more statement before we close. The individuals that were behind putting the certificates together, the coins, setting up the program. Hey, Mr. Olson from Temple. Hey, how are you? He was a Colleen night. He done ran away, but we still love you. Mary Davis, are you still here? Are you? Oh, hey, Mary Davis. Sir, would you like to say anything before we close?
I can.
Yes, sir. But while come on up, sir. While he's coming up, Cece, would you please come here? Cece and Sheila were behind putting all the certificates together, the programs, and the coins. So let's give her and Sheila, she's not here, a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking care of Team Colleen. Mayor Davis.
Thank you. I apologize for being a little bit late. I got caught up in that I-14 traffic jam, as we always have. On behalf of the residents of Temple, I want to thank the city of Killeen, your public service folks, your public works folks, and also thank you for preparing them to come help us. I know, every budget that comes around, it's important that we're able to equip and supply our people, but I always tell our public service people, and I want to do the same with the public service folks with the city of Killeen. It's amazing to me that there are a group of people that are willing to always stand in the gap, to be prepared at a moment's notice to come help. And that's what your folks do. That's what your folks did. So We needed help. We would have eventually got it all done, right? But we needed help in that moment, and the city of Killeen and other cities just showed up. You didn't have to be called, you didn't have to be asked, you just showed up. And for that, I'm just so grateful. And it's been said before, the city of Temple, both administration, our public service people, but also our residents who may not have even known you were there, but you helped. And again, that just means so much to me. And so thank you for preparing your city to help.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Do you have a copy of the agenda? Oh, thanks.
We will now get into our citizen comments.
Okay, here we go, guys. I don't know when I'll be called.
Leo Gukaisen. Good afternoon, sir. You have 4 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, City Manager, and of course, residents of Killeen. First, I would like to say a personal thank you to the men and women of the Killeen Police Department, Fire Department, and Public Works for their activities in helping out Killeen. From my entire family to them, we do appreciate that, and thank you. Getting on with what I'm up here for. Start off with my quote of the day. You shall reap what you sow. By Martin Luther King Jr., Washington, D.C., 1965. I'm basically here to talk about the possible change to the city council workshop meetings that is being proposed today. I am against that. Over the years that I have been here, the governing standards seem to be a beacon of fairness for council and for the residents, but it's kind of fell a little to the left, way more left than I agree with. One thing was the passing of Prop A, which was known as a violation of both state and federal law. Because of that, the residents are paying for 2 court cases, not because of the law, but because it's an ego issue. Secondly, this body has infringed on its residents' federal and state constitutional rights to bear arms. This draconian measure was again not based on fact or a problem, but because of a single comment made on one particular day. Thirdly, this body has infringed on the residents' First Amendment rights of free speech to address their elected officials in a public forum. This measure was put in place not because of the conduct of residents, but because the fact that the body wanted to silence the people. This measure was approved mainly on a comment made knowing that it was election season, people will be more attacking. Now you wanted to infringe on the residents' ability to address this body by going from 2 workshops and 2 meetings a month to just 2 meetings a month. This body justifies this how? By saying it will give the body and staff more time. Well, what about the residents? You say you are for them, but you just cut their time down on which they can present their case in front of you. So when this body stated that a couple years ago regarding the pay raise, that the pay raise was because of the 2 workshops, 2 meetings a month, then if you're willing to restrict the people's right, then will this body place a charter amendment on the November ballot to reduce your pay for the basis of what you're saying? I really am not holding my breath on that. But cutting from 4 to 2 is basically telling the residents that you say you're
Don't forget to
supporting,
like
but,
and subscribe,
you know,
please.
if you can't be here at a certain time, you know, you can't speak. Thank you.
Michael Fornino. You have 4 minutes.
RS 24114, consider a memorandum resolution for this Park Service and Land Water Conservation Fund. The regional park, I want to see all the towns that are going to be in the region kicking in the same amount of money. I want to see Harker Heights kicking in $37 toward advertising or something like that. And this also goes back to, and I will clarify and reiterate my concerns from last week where Mr. Boyd simply said, oh, well, Watercrest Road is going to be repaired. That wasn't the question, that wasn't the issue. Watercrest isn't even shovel ready at this point. You're still looking at bids. And to put the entrance where you are, you already have the traffic plan in place going from 4 lanes to 3 lanes, a major thoroughfare on the edge of my neighborhood. And then what are you going to do about a turn lane and everything else to get in and out of that damn place? You need to back up and think about what you're doing. There's nothing to do with the schedule of Watercrest. As far as exemption for ad valorem taxes, well, that should be no issue at all. It's going to help out a lot of people in this town. Get it done. As far as raising fees and everything else, which will bring that up as a dovetail to the public hearing. You got a lot of people in this town that do not pay taxes, and we'll come back to that one for a public hearing. There's governing standards for the invocation, as Jesus would have us live and treat each other. Render unto Caesar to what is Caesar's, not at the tip of a Roman sword or spear. This fascist crap that you've been pulling for the last 2 years, and that's what it is. You can't say, oh, well, we're doing it for your own good. The guy who couldn't get into art school in Germany in the 20s, that said the same thing. Oh, it's all for your own good. You may not see it, you may not acknowledge it, but that's what it is. You're restricting, you're frustrating, you're stymieing our ability to engage and further justify your lack of representing us. Now, there are poor souls in this room and outside of this room that say, oh, well, they haven't gotten around to anything that I care about, so why should I care if freedom of speech or the right to redress grievances with the government? I don't have any problem with it. That's how it starts. Every single solitary time, this is how it starts. You support it, you're a fascist. You can't say, oh, we're the good fascists. No, it doesn't work that way. I've been promising for quite a long time that with bad advice and consent of our lackluster city attorney, you're about to get a very, very expensive civics lesson. I guarantee you that. Also in response to this, that might answer the question why there's 2 recall petitions that have been submitted in the last couple of days. I'm not behind it, but you can be damn sure that I'm going to get behind it, and I'm going to chase you with paper. I'm going to wound you with the laws, and we're going to wind up, and I say this figuratively, Chief, we're going to kill you with your own money.
His name is Michael Fornino.
cjgrisham. You have 4 minutes.
First of all, I'm glad my mayor's here because there's at least one fewer tyrant mayor in attendance. In a society under the forms of which the stronger faction can readily unite and oppress the weaker, anarchy may as truly be said to reign. James Madison once wrote of the, quote, great importance in a republic, not only to guard the society against the oppression of its rulers, but to guard one part of the society against the injustice of the other part. Madison went to great lengths to highlight the tyranny of the majority in the Federalist Papers number 51, and this is about RS 24-116. I'm going to get there. I'm laying my predicate. He understood that, quote, different interests necessarily exist in different classes of citizen. If a majority be united by a common interest, the rights of the minority will be insecure. The original text of the First Amendment to the Constitution, as drafted by Mr. Madison, read, "The people shall not be deprived or abridged of their right to speak, to write, or to publish their sentiments." This was shortened by the special committee drafting the amendments for submission to the delegates, but highlights the freedom of speech, includes the protection from the abridgment of it. Yet, despite these admonitions against infringing upon the right to speak freely, President John Adams, who was present at these debates, passed the Sedition Act. The Sedition Act criminalized anyone who would, quote, write, print, utter, or publish any false, scandalous, or malicious writing or writings against the government of the United States, or either House of the Congress of the United States, or the President of the United States, with the intent to defame the said government, or said House of the said Congress, or said President, or to bring them or any of them into contempt or disrepute. Those poor government officials having people say bad things about them. The horror they must have gone through. The act was used to suppress speech critical of the Adams administration. Now, while the act was allowed to expire in 1800, the Supreme Court noted it likely would have been ruled unconstitutional. While you guys are trying to come down to just twice a week, I don't have any problems with that. I mean, that's how we do it in Temple. The problem is, y'all have a history of clamping down on the First Amendment. You know, you started with just these so-called rules of decorum or whatever, and then you decided, oh, stay on topic. We're not gonna let you talk about anything but what we want you to talk about. We are your masters in this temple of government. We, upon our high chairs of office up here, standing before you, elevated below you lowly citizens. So then what did you do? You know, people were trying to talk during agenda items. So now you're trying to make it even less. You have just been presented, at least your city secretary has, with the lawsuit that I promised you, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Cobb, Mr. Cagle. Not looking at me now, are you? You thought it was all talk when you wouldn't let us talk. Now that talk is in writing. You've been served.
Mr. Price, you have 4 minutes.
I know that's not the right Mayor Pro Tem.
Good evening, City Council. So I'm going to rise underneath several sections here, just so we're clear on how I'm going to present myself in the readings here. In accordance with section 551.042, section 551.001, chapter 4, section B, and section 551.007. So I also rise to make an amendment to next week's agenda to put on several items. One is that we bifurcate the screen so that y'all are visualized as well as the person speaking on the lectern underneath the video. That's one proposal. The other proposal is to amend several ordinances. One is the city manager's pay, and to reduce it to $1 to the population as registered voters, to equal that dollar. One person registered, $1 for that person, for the city manager, with a base pay of $50,000 and a max pay with benefits not to exceed $150,000. That's on average with Texas standard payment for most city managers, even though that we're one of the highest in the nation for city managers pay. Outside of that, total money spending, right, for all the items, for every single item. I spoke of this last meeting. If you count everything up that we're gonna spend, whether it's federal dollars, grant dollars, or anything like that, we're spending $23 million. That's the total, when you total everything up. Now, some of it's, like I said, federal grants and things like this. But I have a question with the Scarlet Field. We're gonna spend we already spent $2.7 million for the tower. How many people we got flying in there? How many planes and passengers are going in and out of Skylark Field? I'm just curious, because I don't see anybody coming in and out of there as passengers. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it happening. As a hobby field, that's a lot of money to be spending on a tower that might see one Cessna a week. Just kind of curious about that. Not only that, $99,000 for water irrigation at the golf course. That only 1% to 3% of the population actually utilized.
All right, guys, that was all I came here for. You guys take care. Be
RS
safe. Be free.
2414.
Talk to you later.
What are the
Hope you enjoyed it.
gratuity requirements in that request there?
No, the CFW lawsuit will be filed tonight. The CFW lawsuit will be filed tonight.
Suggest that we add to next week's agenda an amendment to RS 24-116 that we add town hall meetings, right, on the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. If we're going to cut everything back, then let's just add town hall meetings so we can actually